All right, it's your boy Corey B. So check it out. I want to talk about the idea of just growing and developing your business from the perspective of being a dad and a husband. And you may be a wife or a mother who's trying to grow a business. The thing is you have this idea, right? You see all these posts, you see them all the time. Do this in your 20s, do this in your 30s, do this in your 40s. And by your 50, you're long retired. Or by the time you're 40, you're retired. Or by the time, it's like they have all these concepts, they have all these ideas, and they're not wrong. They're all possibilities. I remember being, 20 years old and had my homeboy who was 18. And no, I was 21, he was 18. And we had this idea of these different businesses we were going to launch. And we literally spread ourselves all over the place. We had launched 5 businesses together. It was ridiculous. We launched these 5 businesses and we had this concept of, hey, you know what? By the time we're like 35, we're going to be sitting pretty and everything's going to be gravy and we're going to be retired and we're going to be, watching and protecting our kids, right? The thing is you make mistakes. Things don't always go according to plan. Or maybe you didn't come across this information till later in your life. Maybe you didn't think about doing any of that stuff until you were already 30. Maybe you were already 40. Like, there's so many great businesses that didn't launch till later in life. It's okay. It's okay. And then there's these ideas of the structure, right? The structure, like I've even said it. I literally had a post about it yesterday. Just getting distractions out of the way, right? And ultimately, I think you need to. I do think you need to get to, but it's not realistic. I mean, if you're a husband, if you're a mother, if you're a wife, if you're, you got kids, you got a job already. Maybe you're in the process. Like when I started my first business, I was actually in the process of going to school. I was in college. So you're in college, you got a life, you got family and kids. Look, I've been there. It's not impossible. But the idea of saying, hey, you should just get distractions out of your way so you can focus, that's not gonna happen either. Not completely. Now you need to take moments, right? Moments. And capture them when you can. Right now, I just dropped Kimberly. It's 6 a.m. I just dropped Kimberly off at work. Just got back to the house. Corey and Colton are still asleep. They'll be up really soon, but they're still asleep right now. And this gave me an opportunity to kind of talk about this idea because if you've been watching me long enough, you've seen lots of my videos. They show up. They appear. You hear them in the background even if you don't see them. They're always a part of everything I do. And if you don't know, I have another channel. It was initially my channel. It was my channel that I started for my business. And because my boys were so involved in it, and then slowly over time, it got to the point where we went out on the road. And as we went out on the road and started having more adventures, they wanted to make more content. So they took over that channel completely. And I launched this new channel. And if you check out that channel, Bayless Boys, I got a video posted every day. Every day there's a video posted. Now, every other day there's a full-length video. Anywhere from, it could be 3 minutes, a really short video, or it could be all the way up to like a half-hour video. Just depends on what's been going on. Depends on where we've been and what we've seen and what we've done. But there's a lot of content constantly on there. And daily I put a short on there. Every now and then I miss a day, but nearly every day I put a short on there. There's always more content going on there. You see that my boys are active and they're a part of everything I do. And I talk about them all the time. Like, Corey's got ambition and drive to launch his own business. He's been working on ideas since a year and a half at least. He's had different ideas. Oh, I can have this kind of business. I can have that kind of business. I can, and he always tries to incorporate things into what I'm doing and stuff, which is awesome. And he's starting to branch out now to say, well, I want to do this, and it's different than what you're doing, Dad. I'm going to do this. Colton, on the other hand, he constantly wants to do things with me, which is cool. You know, I love my boys. They're just amazing. But he's like, Dad, you know what? You make packages. He calls it making packages, like my reselling business that I had for so long. I haven't done it since I've been on the road. I still got a lot of inventory back in Texas. Since we've been on the road, I haven't been doing that. I've been doing other things, more investments, more content, more things like that. But, excuse me, but I still have so much inventory back in Texas. Colton would be like, because I'd get orders. Daily I'd ship out packages, and so Colton's like, Dad, I'm gonna make packages. That's gonna be my business. I'm gonna make packages. But they're part of everything I do. But there's a way to get around life. Because that's what it comes down to. Whether you have kids, whether you have spouse, if you waited till later in life, some people are in their 30s and they're still single. And they're like, well, I still feel like I missed my chance. I felt that way. I felt that way multiple times. It doesn't change the fact that I continued trying, but but every now and then I was like, did I miss this? Is there a reason that I launched this business and it seems to be struggling a bit? Or I seem to not be getting the traffic or the drive that I'm seeking, right? And I'm like, maybe that's happening because maybe I missed something. Maybe the window on this is more narrow than I thought, right? And the reality is, it's not. Now, it's possible, but it's not. You know, do you miss opportunities? Yeah. But when you miss opportunities, there's always another one. There really is. There's always a way to grow and develop. And what it comes down to is being able to manage your time. So, and that is an easier thing said than done, right? Because you can set up these time blocks throughout the day. Say, look, I'm doing this at this time. Today, I'm gonna get up the boys. They're gonna be up in like 45 minutes. When they get up, I'm gonna have their breakfast ready. We're gonna have their clothes laid out. I'm gonna have all this lined up. They're gonna get up, get dressed, eat, brush their teeth, go break out their Bible, and set up their discs for their first class of the day, right? Then we'll get through their classes, and once their classes are started, I'm gonna go in the other room over here, and I'm gonna sit at the keyboard, and I'm gonna pound at the keys, and I'm gonna knock out 2,000 words today because I gotta get some writing done. And then after I do that, right, then I'm gonna go check on them. I'm gonna go back and forth between writing. I'm gonna go back and forth, which going back and forth, if any of you out there have ever written something, being constantly interrupted in your writing is very distracting. But it's okay. You know, because actually that's part of how I write. That's part of who I am. I embrace who I am, and I embrace where I'm at. My boys are going to interrupt me. And that's okay. You know, they're going to interrupt me. They're going to intervene in what I'm doing. Okay, so when they do, I'm going to take that moment. I'm going to make a mental note. Okay, it's like, this is what I was saying. This is where I'm at. And if I need to finish a thought, I'm like, hey guys, can you just give me 1 second? Let me get that out, and then I'm all yours. Then we'll go and take care of what they need to take care of. Hey, like, okay, what's your next assignment? Or, hey, let me grade this test and see how this went. Let me double check your writing assignment. You know, we'll go over this or that and figure out where they're at and make sure everything's going cool, everything's going smooth. Then they'll go back to their class, right? And then as they go back to their class, and they are homeschooled right here. Okay, so after they go back, then I will hit the keys again. Then once I finally, okay, I've got that done. I've got some stuff written. Right now, while they're still sleeping, and I just got Kimberly off to work, I haven't had breakfast yet, but I'm getting my first video of the day, my content done right now. This is gonna take me a good 20 minutes or so, right? And it may not take 20 minutes to record, but it may take that long to record, upload, all that different stuff, you know, maybe half an hour. So it's like, this takes a little time, but I'm doing this all while they're sleeping. And then I'm gonna grab me some breakfast. And see, it's like, there's just a process. And as the day goes on, then it's gonna be time for lunch. Then I'll get them lunch. Hopefully I've gotten my writing done by then. If I haven't, I'll take a break from writing. I'll get them some lunch. What'll be the next thing that I gotta do? I gotta figure it out. Okay, so it's like, maybe it'll time to be post some more content. Maybe it'll be time to post something on my other channel. Maybe at that point, it's so easy to get lost in what you're trying to plan and what you're trying to do. And see, the thing is I want you to understand that that's okay. Because as long as you do is you just refocus. It's like right now, I'm not even sure what my next thing after lunch is gonna be. But I could say that, you know what, I know what I need to do. Well, I need to double check where my investments are. I need to double check what's happening in the market. So maybe I need to read up a little bit and see, hey, what's happened today? What's happened this morning? You know, what's happened since yesterday that I need to be aware of so I can look at things. And see, I can kind of flop those too. If the boys are being a little bit more needy while they're doing their school, which is totally cool. It's not a needy like a negative thing. It's like they need my attention. And there's going to be certain classes and certain times that they're going to need me more than others. Other times they're going to be like, Dad, I'm just doing history. I just got to read this. I'm good. And I'm like, okay, cool. And there's going to be other times, like especially with science with Corey. Corey's like, hey, I'm going over this experiment. Can we study this together? Because I want to understand it better. And he knows I enjoy it, and he enjoys doing it with Dad, so it's just kind of cool. We get to read over it all. The teacher demonstrates everything. Sometimes we'll actually do it ourselves here, but a lot of times we'll just watch the teacher demonstrate it, and then me and him will study over the analytics of it and everything like that. And we'll study over his vocabulary and stuff. So on the times that they need me a little bit more, I'll just rotate and flip it. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to do my writing later in the afternoon. When I know they're done, they can go outside and play on the farm. They'll go play with the goats. They'll go play with Isaiah from upstairs. They'll go have fun for a good hour or two, and then I can pound on the keys. And so while I'm helping them, I'll be like, well, you know, every now and then I get 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I take those 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and that's when I do my reading. You just got to be able and willing to adapt, which most parents have already figured that out anyways. I mean, even if you're just living life and you're not trying to grow a business, you already know how to adapt because you're doing that. Little Susie has a recital. Billy needs this, and that's happening, and this is happening. And so you bounce back and forth trying to figure out, well, how are we going to juggle this, and how are we going to juggle that, and how are we going to work? You just do the same thing with your business. When you're growing your business, you learn to adapt. You learn to juggle. You learn to be flexible and fluctuate. See, because some people think they have this idea of if you have a business, that it's got to be like in stone. It's got to be concrete. You got to have control. And yeah, having control over it, if you know me, I'm a person who likes control. I've worked and developed skills to handling and managing my desire for control. It's definitely something I've learned to allow God to take control, God to be, you know, in the driver's seat, God to be leading us, and I'm just gonna make the best I can as long as I go. You know what I'm saying? Along the way, like we're gonna call audibles. We're gonna make flexibility. We're gonna make flexibility. Like it's not there. It's not there. You've got all these things. You know, what Colton's doing today can't change. What Corey's doing today can't change. It's there. But I can flex around it, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be flexible around their schedule. Kimberly's schedule's concrete. Like it's not concrete from week to week, but once this is her date, this is her schedule, this is her shift, then it's what it is. You've got to be able to be willing to adapt to those things. And like I said, most parents are already doing it. So if you're already doing it, you can just reapply that same skill to your business. I promise you, it's not as hard as it seems. It's something that as a parent, we just become used to it anyways. Now, if you're not a parent and you're 35 and you're like, well, I'm used to kind of doing things my own way. Well, that's fine. But if you're 35 and you're used to doing things your own way and you already got life and responsibilities and stuff, you need to start taking stock of what's important. Because see, as a parent, you've already got what's important. You've got to be there for your wife. You've got to be there for your husband. You've got to be there for your kids. These things have to be done. Now, as a single 35-year-old, your obligation is to what? Future you. Future you, that's it. Your obligation is the future you. So if future you is your obligation, then how will you set yourself up for the best possible you in the future? So that's what you got to think about, and that's where you got to get your head at. And it's like, I've got to be flexible. I've got to cut out time with this person. I've got to cut out time with that person. I've got to just tell my friends, hey, you know what? I love you. I want to be with you. We're going to kick it. I promise. We're going to make time, but I need a minute because I got this to handle. And you know what? The ones that really love you, they're going to lift you up. They're going to be like, man, is there anything I can do? I got you. I mean, if you just need me to take a step back, wait for you, then I'm cool. You go handle your business. I'll be here when you come back. And other ones are going to jump right in and be like, what can I do for you? What can I do to help get you there? Because I got your back. You know what I'm saying? You're growing this business. Okay, like, what is there something I can do? I got this skill. I know how to design a website. You want me to design your website? Oh man, I know graphics. Do you need a logo or anything? I don't know much about any of this. I'm actually a cook, and I don't know about any of this stuff. But I got like 1,000 friends on Facebook. You want me to plug your business for you? Because I'll plug it. You tell me when. You tell me as soon as it's ready, I'll start plugging it. You got, a little flyer that I could, like a digital flyer I can send out. I'll send it to my email list. Any of these things, like, your friends can dive in and they can be there for you. And the ones that care about you will. If you're in a situation where you're married, but you have no kids, but you're at this stage where you're like, hey, you're 30, you're 40, you're whatever, and you're like, you know what, I might have missed my chance, but I really want to have my business, but I don't know how. It's a conversation that you need to sit down with your spouse and talk about and say, hey, this is what I need. This is what I want. How do we get there? How do we get there? I promise you, it's easier said than done, but it's not as hard to do as a lot of people think. What it comes down to is procrastination. You're going to sit back. Most people, that's why it happened when you're 35, it happened when you're 40, is because either you didn't think of it till now, or you thought about it, but you continued putting it off, saying, I just don't have time. Don't keep telling yourself you don't have time. Let's get it done. Let's get it done right now. Let's make a difference today. Today, let's make a difference and change future you. Flexibility. It's there. Juggling life and family and everything and responsibilities. You can still do this. All right, it's your boy. Leave comments below. Like, whatever it is, if you have an idea of how somebody could juggle this or juggle that, or how can they work around this schedule or that schedule, leave your tips below. How did you figure out how to do it? If you figured out how to do it, share with us. Let's share with each other and let's help design this. I gave you a couple of examples, but ultimately, you know what? Y'all might have better ones. Y'all might have situations that I've never thought of. Or share your concerns. Hey, this is the situation I'm in. How do I get through this? Let's start an open dialogue. Let's do this together. All right, it's your boy. Y'all have a most amazing, blessed day, and let's get it done. I'm out.